Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. This, of course, is the podcast to help agents become top producers in their desired market. We also serve team leaders and brokers to help them develop more top producers on their teams, no matter what market they're in. We are powered on the local level by our franchise called Tampa Bay Real Producers, where we feature the top 500 producing agents in Tampa Bay. We also feature brokers and team leaders in this wonderful market here, local in Tampa Bay. We're hanging at our studio on the corner here of Kennedy and West Shore, and our guest today has been featured before in Tampa Bay Real Producers multiple times, actually, and that is none other than Ali St Cyr. How are you, Ali?
I'm doing great.
It's good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. It's our pleasure.
First time on the podcast, though.
I know. I feel like this should have happened years ago, but I'm glad that we finally got you in. And Ali actually runs a team with Gulf Shores Realty. You might know Ali from Ali St Cyr as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that and some of the branding and name changes. But let's talk a little bit first just about your background and how you got interested in real estate, which if I remember correctly, there's some family connection there. I could be completely off, but I feel like there is. When did you get licensed, and what drew you to this market if you didn't grow up here?
Yeah, so I actually did grow up here. Mm-hmm. So I got my real estate license about 13 years ago, and it actually, sometimes a path leads you to a place you never expected. I used to be in insurance, and they had shut down our division in insurance, and I didn't know what I was going to do. My boyfriend at the time suggested I should get into real estate like 2 weeks before that announcement, and I told him he was stupid. And then, then it came time to make a decision, figure out what I was going to do, and decided to trust in doing something and just taking a leap. And it was the right chapter in my life. I was single, no kids, nothing really to lose. And so jumped in about 13 years ago and started with a local firm here. Yep. And then a few years later started the company. So
was it important for you to kind of find some of those early mentors to help you kind of shape those first couple of years and get some actual results?
It's funny that you say that, because in the very beginning, and I see it happen with a lot of our younger folks entering into the real estate industry, you want to do it your way.
Sure.
Right? And so I started off on my own. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it different. And so therefore I struggled a lot in my first year. I think, I took home after expenses about $5,000. So I thought, oh God, I better.
The fact that you're even still here is a testament to your perseverance, huh?
Yes. I'm a big saver. So luckily I had a good nest egg to get the business started. But after the end of that year, I went back to a mentor who had been in my ear, and I didn't listen to her. And I said, okay, I'm finally ready to listen to you. I tried it my way and it didn't work. Yes. And she set me on the right path. And because it really was at a point where I had to do something different or in real estate, or I had to get out of real estate. And I'm so glad I listened to her.
Yeah, that's a huge, I'm sure there's a lot of lessons just from that alone that we can probably talk about on the whole podcast. But I'd like to flush out, when you think back to that, what were some of the biggest mistakes you were making in those early days? And then what changes did you make that started to create the results you wanted?
Sure. So it's funny, real estate is something that the general population thinks that they know a lot about. And they watch realtors because, they do a lot of marketing.
Sure.
And they pick out things that they see other realtors doing, and they instruct you and say, this is what you got to do to be successful, never having actually done it themselves.
Yep.
And so they'll say, you got to be a TikTok star. And that's the way that you're going to, succeed in real estate. And you've got to send out the best newsletter that anyone's ever seen. And you've got to, and then I see a lot of these new agents, which I was one of those at the time. I would have all of these initiatives that I'm trying to do all at the same time. And when you have all of those things running at the same time, you do none of them well.
Yep.
It really gets watered down.
Yep.
And you have a lack of focus. And I think, once I turned the corner and started listening, not to the general population, but to someone who has actually walked the walk in real estate, that's when things started to turn for me. And I think when you're first starting in your career, you certainly want to make it your own and put your own personality into it. Start with the basics, get the disciplines down, know what you're supposed to be doing every single day from a mentor and someone who has done it, and do it their way. And then slowly start to customize it and make it your own once the disciplines are in place.
Yeah.
Sometimes we try to do it all at once.
What do you think is the most important discipline if you had to identify one that especially a newer agent needs to put into place right away?
Depending on what your business strategy is, if you're working by referral, which is how I built my business, knowing what those touch points are with your customers and making that the number one priority in your day. Because it's funny, when an agent that's new to the business gets one deal, it consumes their entire life. And that's not going to make you an income that's survivable.
Yep.
So making sure that you put those disciplines of prospecting and relationship building as the number one priority, while also servicing the people that you have in play, it is so important to not get distracted when you have one thing, for it to consume you and for you to put that on the back burner.
Yeah.
That's just going to leave you with doing one deal at a time forever.
Smart advice. And it shows you that you do need to work with people, right? You need to have some leverage in order to be able to do what you just said, serve people the right way. Because I'm assuming that's where an agent would make that mistake, is they feel like they want to serve and have a certain, emotional attachment, I guess, to that one deal, that client. So they want to make sure that experience goes well. But when if that's all on them, that really hinders their ability to keeping the funnel going, right? And moving what's going to really create the business that they want. So going at it as a lone soldier, I think, would be a hard approach to kind of get the results you're talking about. Is that fair? One
of the, and it's funny, I remember when I started listening to my mentor, one of the things that you would have an accountability partner. So it's good to bounce things off of someone. And, everyone is motivated differently. I am motivated in that if I'm telling someone else to do something, I better be doing it myself. And you would have to, you could have 5 deals going and you call your accountability partner and you say, oh, I did this appraisal and then I went to the photos on this new listing. And then you talk through all the things that you're doing for your deals. And your accountability partner was supposed to say, well, how many calls to your prospects did you make today? And if you
keep the main thing, the main thing. Didn't I just tell
you all the things that I was doing with my deals? But if you didn't make your prospecting calls, you had to look at your accountability partner and say, I didn't work today.
Yeah, that's huge. I love that.
Even though you were really busy.
You might have felt like you worked, and
right,
you did
but if
work.
You're not doing the main foundation of the business, saying, like, it was painful to have to say it, and so you never wanted to say, I didn't work today.
Yeah, I love that. And that's really a business principle. I think that's true in any business, is just understanding what those key priorities are, clarifying that, number one, and then making sure that you either time block correctly so your calendar protects that time. That is a key, reason for anybody to be successful, no matter what the business might be. And so in your case, Ali, was that about a year in that you made that transition?
Yep.
Okay. And did that next year really pop for you?
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I made a lot more than 5,000, thank goodness. But I remember, having been laid off from my previous job, I made the amount of money that I was making in my previous job that following year when I started listening to my mentor. And that was such a prideful moment to me that I'm like, I did that on my own.
Yeah.
Nobody paid me that. Like, I worked and I earned every penny of it, and it felt so good that first year. And then it, grew from
Entrepreneurship
there.
Hooked you at that point, I guess, huh?
Yes. I'm like, there's more.
No looking back.
Yep.
No looking back. And those of you who don't know, Ali has been a perennial top producer ever since we even started Tampa Bay Real Producers way back in 2018. I can't remember exactly the first year we featured you, but it was early in the Real Producers journey too, like maybe 2020-ish, somewhere around there, 2019 maybe even. And then we've featured Ali multiple times since, even last year, which for many agents was a challenging year. The market, I think, brought some challenges for people last year.
Certainly.
Ali was still a top producer in this market, did over 20 million, 25 million, close to 30 million herself, while still, we're going to talk today about her team leadership responsibilities as well. We were talking off camera about how there's about 100 agents now within the Gulf Shores Realty family. So give us a little insight on the journey from individual producer and focused on your personal brand to what led you to create this St Cyr brand and what that relationship looked like, and now Gulf Shores Realty, and how this has evolved. You want to fill people in on that?
Sure. So I was working in real estate about 3 years at the time, and really had taken off since I, started creating the disciplines and a strategy around business and really being hyper-focused. But I felt that I wanted to create something different. I was in a world that felt very uncollaborative. And if you come from a mindset of abundance and collaboration, which I do, I believe that in surrounding yourself with other people who are high achievers are the best way for us all to achieve even higher heights.
I agree.
That's
why we've always loved you with Real Producers.
Yes, I love collaborating, and I'm happy to share my ideas because at the end of the day, I'm actually not that creative. I'm like, ooh, I like what that person's doing. I'm gonna take that and make it my own. Ooh, I love that they're doing that, and I love working with people that are open to sharing it because if you're working by relationship, I have a good sphere of influence, you have a good sphere of influence, and if you're doing it right, the pie's big enough for all of us.
Yeah.
And it's the people that have that scarcity mentality that kind of turn into a much more competitive, cutthroat environment that
Totally.
I just don't believe is necessary in being able to achieve in this market. I mean, certainly you've got to be competitive, you have to be a good negotiator, but I still believe in the collaborative experience. And so, 10 years ago this month, actually.
Wow.
We started Ali St Cyr Real Estate Services with that idea of creating a brokerage that truly collaborated. We were very intentional about who we wanted to invite to be a part of the brand. Our culture and values was...
Now, was Tomlin your mentor?
So Tomlin is my maiden name.
Okay.
And so backing up, my parents were at a point in their careers where my dad was retiring from a 26-year career at AAA.
Okay.
He was the CEO of AAA. My mom was a successful business entrepreneur. She owned a company, Tomlin Tested Staffing, for 30 years.
Okay.
She sold her company. My dad was retiring, and it was always their dream to help one of their kids start a company.
Nice.
They have 3 kids, but I'm clearly the favorite.
You were the chosen one.
So I'm also the oldest. But so, we said, let's do it. And it was funny when I was getting my real estate license, I, started studying, and my dad, this was before we talked about opening the company. He was like, well, I'm going to get my license too. And I was like, why? But he's so good at getting licensing, and, he's a very smart man. So he decided to get his license, and we never knew that it would grow into what it is today.
Yeah.
But, starting a family business is not for everyone.
No, there's a lot of challenges to that.
There can be. And we certainly had friction at the beginning, figuring out that dynamic of mom and dad versus like John and Holly.
Were your other siblings involved too?
No.
Just you and your parents? Okay.
And so we really had to figure out the hats and find the strengths of each on the team and what we brought as we came together and respect the lanes that each of us had.
Yep.
And so it took, my dad,
What was your lane?
Sales and process and figuring out what are the actual needs of people in the field and how can we serve our agents best. And so it took some time to figure out our lanes and
did you stop producing as well during that time frame?
I did
so you were
not.
always in production.
Yes.
That's a challenge in and of itself, right? Is the balance of everything that is required to support a team from a recruiting standpoint, from a support, development, engagement, trying to help them with their business, productivity increases, dealing with underperformance issues, all of that stuff compared to your own client base and not making sure that they don't feel neglected.
Right.
And that only, I'm assuming, is possible because you have a great support staff under you as well to kind of support the client piece. Did you find that to be a challenging scenario for you to balance both those things?
100%.
Yeah.
It's a challenge every
Piece
day.
of cake for you, right?
Yeah. And there's always ebbs and flows. And as an agent knows, sometimes it's really busy, it slows, and, and trying to manage that. But I remember a very specific moment with my husband where, when you have no boundaries, you just work 24/7. You're always on. And I was at a point where I had one person on my team, and he was like, this is not working. It was every weekend. I was running around, taking phone calls. We just really didn't have time because I was always interrupted. And I think that, unfortunately, I had to get to a burnout stage to realize it's time to grow my team. And it's a hard decision to make because you're so used to doing it all on your own.
Yeah.
I've never really been a manager before at
Sure.
that point. Everyone
It's hard to
thinks
trust
they
people to
want
do the
be a
job as well as you
manager.
can too.
Yeah, and everyone thinks they want to be a manager, but not everyone
Right.
actually
Until they
enjoys
deal with it.
and is good at being a manager. But when you hire that first person, depending on how you do it, you will lose money. I think that's the hardest part for an agent to understand, is that yes, you will lose money at first, but it's an investment in the future growth, because an agent really has a ceiling. There is only so much you are capable of doing from a time and capacity perspective.
For sure.
And unless you make that investment of manpower and bringing other strengths to the team, you're going to hit a ceiling that you're just never going to be able to move past.
Yep.
So that, once that mindset shift happened for me, that's when I would happily grow the team at those, pivotal moments in
How big did
career.
the team get at its apex with Tomlin St. Cyr?
I actually like keeping a very small team of, I would say, when I say captive people, that sounds a little odd, but I like completely engaged with the team. I don't have members of the team that are kind of like one foot in my business and one foot in their business. So I like to keep it really small, because we're very process driven and we have a very well-oiled machine. And I think that when people are constantly switching hats and doing it their way for their business and then my way for my business, it gets very confusing. So we put it all in one. And then I have hired administrative support under any agent that might be producing to support and lift their business to cover the cost of it. And then we come up with a compensation structure that accounts for me covering the costs, but them also getting a piece of my deals, and then them having the administrative support for their deals.
Now, I know you have about 100 agents now, right? That you were saying. Now that's under the Gulf Shores. Is this the biggest the team has ever been?
No.
Okay.
We really went through a transition over the last couple of years. As we know, you had that COVID spike where it was really churning.
Melee, right?
And then it slowed down. And we, Diana Kurtz, who is our managing broker, is a big advocate of education and experience in handling clients' largest financial needs many times. And we don't want part-time agents. If you're doing one deal a year,
not for your brand.
It's just not it. It can be more of a liability than an asset. And so we really looked at our agent base and suggested that some maybe move into that referral agent status, because if they're doing one deal a year, it's not most likely going to be the best experience for that customer. Yeah.
Do you want to touch on the brand switch to Gulf Shores and how that happened, and what if any changes that's created in the business now?
Big decision.
Yeah, I can imagine. You guys have built a nice brand with Tamlin St. Cyr, so I'm sure that wasn't an easy decision.
Yes, but as you experienced in the beginning of before the cameras started rolling, pronouncing my name can be a challenge. And I know that. And so as unique as my name is, sometimes administratively or even in marketing, it can cause a challenge. So, hearing some agents when they would have to state their email address on the phone, TomlinStCyr.com, TOM, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. And I loved the name. I mean, it really speaks to that family atmosphere that we created with the company. But we had acquired Gulf Shores Realty in 2021 in Venice, and it doubled our size. So it was a big decision. And when we did that, many of the agents there assumed we would rebrand Gulf Shores Tamlin St. Cyr. But Tamlin St. Cyr had no presence in that market. Sure. So we really kept it that way for a long time, since 21. And as we started to grow, and as the services that we offer our agents, we were duplicating things in both markets, or maybe we would put forth an effort that we were testing in one market, but we didn't want to test in both markets. And so it became very challenging, and it almost became a feeling of like us and them with some of the staff, and I wanted to bring it together in the spirit of that collaborative environment. Yeah. And in sharing leads amongst the different territories. We'd say, hey, I'm at Tamlin St. Cyr, but I'm going to refer it to one of our agents. They're under a different brokerage name, but
we're all together.
But the same. And so there were so many reasons to bring it together, and everyone thought that I would rebrand it with the Tamlin St. Cyr name. But I really think that the Gulf Shores name better defined the territory that we serve. Yeah. I liked the way
There's some good keywords in there.
Yes, we really are. Down the Gulf Coast of Florida.
Yeah.
And overall, the brand I think was more cohesive in running under that name. But the timing of it was a little bit funny because my parents were exiting the company at the time.
I was going to ask you that, so they're no longer
so
involved.
People thought like, oh, I'm going to get my maiden name off the sign because they're out of here. And I'm like, that had nothing to do with it at all.
Your parents blessed the name change,
they
I hope?
did. And,
Yes.
and I'm like, please talk about that. This wasn't, like, they fully supported
This wasn't a civil war within the
No,
family.
No,
yes.
but you know how, like, a
Totally.
competitor might get a hold of
Yes.
something
People
and then
like
create
juicy
their
gossip,
own story.
too.
And I'm
Right.
like, or a lot of rumors that I had sold the company, which did not happen. We owned Gulf Shores in Venice. And so,
has there been a benefit of that switch to unite the different markets and team? Have you felt the difference?
100%.
Yeah.
After 10 years in the business, it was really time for a refresh of the brand anyway. So, agents got the benefit of getting all new signs and, new business cards. And we paid for all of their rebranding because it was our decision.
They were excited about it?
Yes. And, and we've gotten really great feedback.
It's funny too, because sometimes from an agent's perspective, like a change like that can reinvigorate every now and again. It could create a new motivation for whatever reason, just because it is new and it's different and it's fresh. And maybe they do like the name and they think it speaks more to the team and the area as a whole for all the reasons you already laid out. So, so it sounds like this is where we're running with, huh? Gulf Shores moving forward. You have 4 locations, 4 separate offices, right? The Venice one you mentioned. Where are the other 3?
Yeah, so we have 2 operational offices where staff sits every day, and then we have 2 retail spaces. One right in like the heartbeat of Venice, on Venice Avenue, and then we have another one in Northport, which we planted a flag there because it's one of the fastest growing communities in the.
Yeah,
so we rented
a lot of new development down there, right?
Yeah.
Is there areas, or just serve the 4 areas you have for now, or what's the vision look like?
I love the territory of the Gulf Coast because I've had some opportunity for acquisition going a little more inland, and
then you have to change the name again.
Yeah, inland, not shores. Yes. I don't know what, I'm not
inland
the creative.
Shores? I mean, come on now.
Yes. So I think really more of a connecting the dots along the Gulf Coast would make the most sense. But also,
do you have a presence in Sarasota yet, or Bradenton?
We have agents, but not an office in Sarasota. Same with St. Pete. We have agents that serve St. Pete, but not. We had actually bid on a space on Beach Drive, but ended up the neighbor expanded into the space, so we didn't get it. But
the furthest south you have is Venice.
Northport.
Okay.
Northport.
Have you looked at Fort Myers, Naples at all down there?
So I have some friends in that market that we collaborate a lot, other owners, and I'm very loyal to not going into their territories. Gotcha. I would say, yeah,
okay. Makes sense.
Because otherwise they're not going to share their ideas with me. So it's hard, when you run a brokerage, especially in your own market. Like other brokerages here, we compete against each other, and we're not going to share ideas back and forth. And I get that. But I love that I'm part
Unless
of
you're a part of the Real Producers Mastermind, because we force them to share their ideas. And thankfully they do. It's amazing how it works out. They actually collaborate at a high level.
They do. Yeah. And, but yeah, it can cause some challenges. But, but I would say there's a difference too of expanding by like planting a flag and creating somewhat of a retail small space office or acquisition. And so we've looked at both opportunities. I would say the acquisition has to be the right culture fit.
Sure.
In order to, and the timing, so
how would you define your culture? What's most important to you guys with the Gulf Shores?
Sure. So we, the company was actually founded on the laws of success with the book called The Go-Giver by Bob Berg. If you've ever
read it, I have.
Yes. So funny. My mom gave me this book when I was, I was in college. It was in 2008.
Yep.
And of course I rolled my eyes, and she made me read this book and felt that this was like such a good foundation for how you should live your life. I still have that book on my desk today. And when
Does
we
every
started
new
the
agent get that
company-
as a gift when they join the team?
Yes.
That's
and,
cool.
And it really is what we live by.
Hey guys, just a quick second here. If you're an agent who knows that you want to be featured as a top producer here on the podcast and would love some support in helping you grow your business so that you can be a top producer in your desired market, you can see what resources and programs we have in store to help you at topproducersnation.com. That is where you'll be invited to register for a webinar and where you can get access to the different programs and courses and different opportunities that we have in store for you at topproducersnation.com. You can also join our online community by going to join.topproducersnation.com to be able to join our online community and learn more about being a top producer. If you are a broker or a team leader who would like help in producing more top producers on your team, we invite you to do the same thing. Our programs are made specifically to help you as well grow your teams. Let's get back to this episode.
Provide more in value than you receive in payment. Give without any expectation in return. And that's how we expect our agents to serve their clients.
Yep.
And do the right thing. The right thing is always the right decision. And once you make that decision, it makes it so much easier when you are put in a place where a decision has to be made. There's only one choice.
I love that. And I think it's great to have like a foundational framework, whether it's from a book or something that you've even created internally, that you always can go back to, right? When things are stressful and there's stuff hitting the wall and you're trying to figure out like, how should we really handle this scenario, this challenge, this market, whatever. Just having that foundational truth, those core values that you can lean on, I think really tend to provide that direction. I've experienced that in my own businesses over the years and even in your personal life. So I think that's strong. And that speaks to why your brand has succeeded for as long as it has, is that it's not just based on the whims of the market. You know, it's based on something stronger than that. And that's building on the rock, right? That's really what you want.
We preciously guard that culture. And we have interviewed some higher producing agents that may not have fit that culture.
Sure.
And as much as I would have loved their production to be a part of my brokerage, it will sour the entire
Totally. It's a wise
operation.
decision. Sometimes it's smarter to say no.
It is.
Where do you find, Ali, personally, that you get more enjoyment or fulfillment in your career? Is it on the client serving side still? Because I know you've intentionally never given up production, right? It doesn't sound like you have. This has always been a part of your experience in real estate, which I think is fairly unique. A lot of people who do what you do intentionally get out of production and want to, right? Doesn't seem like that's been your angle. And then obviously I know you spend a lot of time still on supporting your agents and building a culture and working in the culture and being the team leader. Is either one, do they fulfill you equally? Does one way over the other? Does if you had to tell us the secrets, what would it be?
You know, it's funny. You know, I mentioned I collaborate with other owners around the country, and most people just call me a crazy lady who's still trying to wear both hats. And everyone always thought I would give up production, but I'm actually really good at it, and I do like it. And I think that it creates a unique dynamic having the owner also in production, because I get it. I'm not trying to implement things 2 years ago that might have worked for the brokerage that isn't relevant in today's market. I really take my experience to make the brokerage better. I never compete with an agent. I just actually had one the other day. I'd actually gone on a listing appointment. It was on Davis Islands, and another agent of ours, his mom was good friends with the woman, and she had reached out to him, and he called me, I think feeling a little awkward about it. Like, I know she said that she met with you. And I was like, this is 100% yours.
Yeah.
If ever we're up against each other, I'm coming right behind you and supporting you.
That's cool.
But that's completely your listing.
Totally.
And I have to take that role so that no one ever thinks that I'm
because that's always the concern, right? Is
Yes.
like, if they're in production, why am I they're gonna never give me the best leads. They're just gonna keep them for themselves. That's always the thought process, you would think.
Yes.
And
I'd be spending a lot of money on staff if I was doing that to sabotage the entire
Totally.
thing. So
Yeah.
I have to be completely transparent in that arena and pride myself in always making sure, like I said, you know, 100, like there's no referral fee. I am not involved other than supporting you. I'll go on the appointment if she feels weird about it.
Yeah.
We'll go together, but we're a team, and that's your lead.
Yeah, makes sense. Does most of your personal business come from like past customers and people you already have those relationship with, or are you still kind of meeting new clients and doing a little bit of both?
Yeah, I certainly am always out in the community meeting other great people, but it's always friends of friends or some sort
Sure.
of a mutual connection. I don't do a lot of marketing to attract new
Got it.
prospects.
Yeah, it's a fascinating experience. I'm a big fan of team development and leadership, and I always admire and enjoy having these conversations with leaders that I think have invested in people. And if we had more time on the show, I think I could spend another hour talking just about leadership with you and your experience on that front. So I guess we'll have to have you come back sometime to be able to do that.
We'll see how I did today.
Yeah, I think you did great.
Decide.
I think you did well, for my opinion anyway, which doesn't really matter. It's the audience that matters. So hopefully they feel the same way. But a couple quick rapid fire questions for people to get to know you a little bit more on the personal side. One of the questions I always ask is, do you have a favorite book or author, which you might have already answered with The Go-Giver? Is that the one you would recommend?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Yeah.
And all the, laws of success are printed around our office to remind us every day. It's a short little read. It's big text, so you can get it done really quickly.
Yeah, you definitely can. And then there are some powerful lessons there that if you apply it will make a big difference in a customer service business. Do you have a favorite TV show or movie?
I'm really bad at sitting down for long periods of time, I will say. So you're probably going to make fun of me, but I cannot watch very intense topics in the evening because I'll have ruminating dreams on it, even silly things. So Emily in Paris or Schitt's Creek.
You like the light stuff.
Yeah, but
a little light comedy.
Yeah.
A little rom-com type thing.
Schitt's Creek's so good. Yeah.
So you already got a fan over there. It works.
Yes.
That works. What do you just love to do for fun when you're not working so hard? Is what keeps you guys? I know you have kids and family, and I'm sure that keeps you busy. What do you guys like to do with your time?
I have 2 little boys, and they are wild animals.
How old are they now?
7 and 4.
Okay.
So they certainly keep me busy and active. I get to go home, and I don't get to veg on the couch. We're out in the yard doing something. We love being outside.
Yeah.
I just, being in the
You
grass.
guys live in South Tampa, right?
No, we live in Rocky Point area. We're in Dana Shores.
Okay.
Been there, second house, same neighborhood.
Gotcha.
Love it there. But, I realized a few years ago I didn't have any hobbies because my husband is really good at, finding fun things that he enjoys. And he was like, what would you do if you had 2 hours on a Saturday? And when my answer was clean the house, I was so disappointed in myself that I was like, I really just I need to be more fun. And so I used to be an athlete and I loved competing in that
what was your sport?
Environment. I played soccer growing up. And so although soccer from the injuries, I'm a little too old to get back into competitive soccer.
Got to be pretty fit to stay up with the soccer routine, right? A lot of running out there.
Yeah.
Getting kicked in the shins and all that stuff, right?
So I decided to start taking tennis lessons.
Okay.
And then joined.
Have you converted to the pickleball community yet?
No, we're
everybody loves this pickleball thing now. It's amazing. It really is. So many people are into that now.
I I really enjoy singles tennis. You need one person.
Yep.
You can sign up for an ultimate tennis league, and they match you with equal level players, and you just figure out a time to go and play. And that has been...
How often do you get to play?
When I'm in the league, it's about once a week.
Okay, cool. I used to play tennis actually myself. I grew up in Connecticut, but we used to have a tennis court right by our house. So there was a big wall there. And even if I was by myself, you can just smack the ball against the wall and get your kind of game going. So I always enjoyed it. It was fun.
Well, it's a good sport for longevity of life,
for
too.
sure. I started playing more golf, and that's kind of the same thing. You can play that a lot longer, for sure, versus my baseball career was kind of short-lived. So it happens. It happens, else. Rob. Yeah. Now I live vicariously through my boys and get to coach them with baseball instead.
That's
so
right,
that works.
in the 90-degree heat.
That's right.
I'm sure I'll be there soon.
And we talked about family briefly, but when you did have your boys, they're both young, and that must have been a big transition too from... that's a game changer when it comes to running the size of a business that you have to now also being that mom that you wanted. You think about the staff that you have in the business. Is that really where you leaned on that even more heavy to make that balance work?
I had to. And I think that's one of the challenges in our business is that when you are the team leader and the rainmaker, it definitely showed in my production the year that I had my first child.
Yeah.
It was really a break-even year. My team got paid, and but I had other priorities in that moment. We got done what we needed to, but I wasn't innovating. I wasn't prospecting, and it certainly reflected in my numbers. And so that, I think, is really difficult when you start doing well in real estate, knowing that you're going to have those ebbs and flows when you are the one bringing in the business.
Yeah.
Preparing for it as best that you can, but giving yourself some grace in those years is important. Would you consider your career to be very fulfilling today? It is. I have a lot of work to do, though.
Yeah.
I'm.
What's the most important goal you're chasing this year?
I would say growing our team of agents with the right people.
Okay.
People who share in that collaborative spirit. That's
getting
been
more
our
agents
major-
or growing the agents you already have to different levels?
Both.
Okay.
Both, but with the right ones and the ones that really are focused on growing their business. I'm not interested in an agent that's just coming over and wanting to maintain. I'd say just stay where you're at.
Yeah.
But if you really are interested in innovating and growing your business, that we do support our agents tremendously in helping them as entrepreneurs, not just as an agent, and switching that mindset.
I love that. So we are out of time, unfortunately. I'd like to continue talking with you because I think it's always good to have you here. If somebody did want to connect with you, though, Ali, and just learn more about Gulf Shores, about the culture there, about what you guys do to support your agents, what's the best way to do that?
Sure, of course, we have our website. You can always reach out to me personally or our managing broker, Diana Kurtz. Anyone is always so.
Does Diana handle most of the recruiting?
We also have someone who handles just recruiting, but we're all involved. At the end of the day, we all have a say in who joins our team because we all have to collaboratively work together and make sure that it's the right fit and that they feel that we're the right fit for them too.
Absolutely. And I'm assuming there's a fairly extensive interviewing process to make sure that is actually the case, right?
Yes.
Don't expect to show up in one call, you're already signed up. It's probably not going to work that way. So we're going to put a bow on the episode with our last question, which I call our legacy question. And this is about the time that comes, Ali, and you're sitting on that rocking chair and you're thinking back to the legacy that you would want to be most remembered for, right? Personally or professionally. What do you think would mean the most to you as a successful businesswoman, a leader in the real estate community? What type of legacy do you think you'd want to leave?
I think we focus a lot on giving back to the community that has served us so well. And so I love mentorship, not just in careers, but in young adults. And so Big Brother, Big Sister is a huge part of our hearts. And I'd love to integrate more of what we do on a personal side within the brokerage. So we've mentored Mikey. Well, we always called him Little Mike. Now he's 17 and he's towering over me, going into his senior year. But,
that's cool.
Really promoting giving back in whatever serves your heart. There's so many great organizations out there. We have chosen one that we've stuck with for, 11 years. It might be coming up on 12 years. And he's our family. I call him my bonus son. And helping our agents find out what their passion is to create a more well-rounded and dynamic life, not just focused on business, but what are you also doing to give back to the community that has served you so well?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you again for being here. And you can check this episode out, of course, via our YouTube channel. If you haven't already subscribed, just click the little button. That way you'll be notified every time we drop a new episode, which is weekly, with top producers and team leaders and brokers like Ali. But we always like to end each episode with a challenge to the audience. So if there's one thing that you can take away from our conversation today with Ali, what is that one thing that can help propel you forward personally and professionally, so you start building that habit of taking action when you take the time to listen to a podcast or something like this that makes it more valuable? Could be simply like picking up The Go-Getter, right? Maybe that's a book that you need to read and figure out how to apply that into your own culture and business. So that could be the action step. Possibly you're somebody who's thinking about starting a team like Ali did years ago, and you want to pick her brain, or somebody like Ali, to figure out those nuances of going from personal production to team leader, and how that's what to expect, and what are some of the bumps in the road that you're going to have to deal with. Possibly you're struggling as an agent like Ali was in her first year, and you need to hook up with a mentor and actually listen to them, right? And start applying some of those principles in year 2 or beyond, no matter what year you're in real estate. There's a lot of different angles that we talked about today that could easily create an action step for you to take action and make a difference in your career, again, personally or professionally. We hope that you follow us at topproducersnation.com so you can learn more about our online community. We have a bunch of resources on there for you as an agent, absolutely for free, to help you grow your business, things to help you grow webinar campaigns if that's something that intrigues you, or video sales letters. Those are two components we've been leading into a lot lately to help agents position themselves with a certain authority and making sure they get their message out there the way that they want. So follow us at topproducersnation.com, and we'll see you, of course, on the next episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. We'll see you later.